Kundalini Awakening, and this ultimate guide to your spiritual energy. First of all, I don't make flashy videos with lots of images flashing in your screen to keep your brain tricked into watching more and things like that, the typical YouTube stuff. I'm not about that. I'm about authenticity, and authenticity is me, not flashy videos, not flashy. So if you want that, go somewhere else. If you want good, reliable information about Kundalini Awakening, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and continue watching. We can see Kundalini activation, all these wonderful demos of people moving, and is that Kundalini Awakening? No, that is moving pranic energy in the body. Don't get me wrong, it's a powerful thing. We have other forms of practices. We can do it through some types of yoga. Careful, not all types. So for example, tantric yoga can help. Kriya yoga can help. But there are many ways we can use, even down to breath work. If we're just trying to activate our own energy, we can use the tantric sacred sexual energy to awaken this. There are many methods to do it, and I offer private sessions, I offer courses, I offer trainings on awakenenergy.com to do this. The reason why this is the ultimate guide to this, to Kundalini Awakening, is because I'm not going to talk about, yes, it can help you to clear emotional traumas and emotional healing, and it makes you feel great. And because let's face it, just going to a sauna and a plunge pool can stimulate endorphins, can stimulate serotonin, can make you feel great. So can breath work. So can a yoga class. But that has nothing to do with what Kundalini Awakening is. It is not about energy flowing through your body, that pranic energy. Don't get me wrong, it's awesome. It is about connecting a technology, a biological technology within our system, which connects the energy from the root chakra, not the sexual organs, because that would be the tantric energy, which can be used to awaken it, but then you disconnect the sacred sexual energy and just leave the Kundalini. So we rise that Shakti, that energy that rises from the base of our spine and goes up to our head. When Shakti rises all the way through, we get the feeling that our whole brain starts to connect. Not just one side, not the other side. There have been some people who have even done brain scans with this. And those brain scans, whilst they do not show the whole brain lit up, they do show a lot more activity is going on in the brain. So there is definitely something to this whole brain idea. So the Shakti rises up the spine, connects. It enlightens the whole brain. It turns it on. When your brain turns on, we start to activate gamma waves, we start to activate alpha waves, not just the regular beta waves, which enables us to feel many, many things. It's not just about healing. It's not just about feeling moksha or the bliss state, which we do feel. It's not about as it passes the heart and it rises and opens and our whole heart just feels enlightened and amazing, and we just have this awe for the world and this sense of gratitude of everything, much like children, very young children do before they're shut down. But it goes so much further than this. Now, I can't tell you the exact details of what goes on, as in what you will discover. Well, I can tell you, but I'm not going to tell you, because if I tell you these things happen, and then they happen, I'm talking about specifics. We'll talk about general ideas in a minute. But when these things happen and people repeatedly have the same experiences, so it's not like taking magic mushrooms or ayahuasca, and which leads you to talk to your own subconscious and gives you permission to see the path for you personally in that moment. Of course, those things happen during the process, but it goes so much further, and everybody ends up having the same or very similar experience. This is why I can explain it generally, because this is what the Buddha talks about. This is what most religious texts talk about, getting and feeling and understanding this experience. But it doesn't stop there. When we connect the energy up and it opens our minds and opens our consciousness, we could say it connects us to source. We could say it connects us to the collective consciousness. Well, you could use the word God if you want. It really doesn't matter. It's just a word to describe it. Things start happening. What starts happening? Well, we have from the very simple. Your intuition kicks in. Some common things are people start to have, perhaps at first in an uncontrolled way, precognitive thoughts. They see things before they happen. They're very much psychic abilities, as it were. It's just one name for them. So I'll give you an example. You might be driving down the road and you need to overtake someone. And then you can't quite see, but it's, quite clear. And it's like, do I overtake? Do I not? And suddenly you get this sort of feeling or this flash of no. And so you listen to it and you don't. And then 5 seconds later, a car suddenly comes around, or you suddenly see something you didn't notice on the road, and basically it saves your life. Or a nasty accident or a nasty shock and some very skilled movement to not crash. That's just one of the types of things that happen. But it goes further than that. It allows us to embrace what everybody calls the power of manifestation, the law of attraction, which should be called the law of vibration. And it allows you to start to control things in your own life. It goes further than that. We start to understand. Now, I'm not talking about being woke or what some people call awake, as you see the matrix of society and how society is programmed. That's very basic stuff. No, we're talking about way beyond. We're talking about how everything is connected. Everything is one. You can literally feel and see this depending on how you're orientated. If you're more of a kinesthetic person, you might feel it more. If you're more of a visual person, you might see it more. You might get a mixture of both. You will be given very particular visions of certain things. This is what I'm talking about, what the religious texts talk about. You manage to then open up with work. For some people, for others, it's spontaneous. It just depends. But it can open up all these things like remote viewing. It can open up to you astral projection, lucid dreaming. Now, yes, these are all things that can be worked on without awakening the Kundalini. They are sort of little bits and bobs that you can work on and get to, and some people can do without a problem, and other people find very hard. But once you've awakened your Kundalini, it doesn't just open you up to doing one of these and studying it for 3-4 years to be able to get there. It opens up a vast amount of abilities that just with a little practice enable you to become what some people would call superhuman. But it's not about being superhuman. It's about becoming human. It's about not being what some people call, I think it's NPC, non-player character. It's about seeing everything. It's about the big picture. And I'm not talking just about the big physical picture of your daily life. I'm talking about the physical picture of how everything relates to each other. When you can connect on this level to things, when you can feel intricacies, it is a very powerful thing. Now remember, this isn't an easy journey. And you have to understand there are things like Kundalini syndrome. It's amazing the amount of Kundalini activation facilitators that when I mention to them, and a lot of people say, oh, this is 100% safe and blah, blah. When I mention to them or ask them, so what's Kundalini syndrome? Most of them say, what's what? What's that? Never heard of it. They don't have an idea of what can happen when things go wrong. The amount of people, clients that I've had, private clients that have come to me and said, I've been to a Kundalini activation, I was pushed too far and now I'm suffering and it's really difficult. And when I say the amount of people, I'm not talking thousands. They are the minority, but tread carefully. My trainings, we work to keep things in balance. It's not suddenly a couple of days and boom, lots of energy. No, we work at things, we balance things, we keep things very safe for you to do. And my trainings, they're online, so it makes it very easy to do. Yes, it can be done online. But anyway, I'm not here to plug my trainings and courses. The whole experience of when Shakti rises and reaches Shiva, this is nothing masculine, this is nothing feminine. Forget those ideas of masculine energy and feminine energy. Because under Western ideas, as soon as we name masculine and feminine, our programming kicks in and we think of man and woman. Despite what people say, we still come back down to that. They still say, well, this is a male trait and this is a female trait. It's not about that. Shakti means energy, Shiva means consciousness. So when you connect the energy up and open the consciousness, this is where we reach the states of moksha, the states of samadhi, the states of bliss. Now, normally when this happens, we awaken the Kundalini, and for most people, it takes a bit of work to make this permanent. It doesn't happen and we're there. And let's face it, in today's society, if you are constantly in that state, it could be quite impractical to be there the entire time, all of a sudden. You want to build this connection over time so it's stable, so you can get it whenever you want. So the stressful situation. So when you're in a stressful situation, you can connect your energy, you can connect to your consciousness. Allow yourself to see what is going on and control the situation you are in, to bring the other person down, to calm them down, to make everything more peaceful, more gentle, less aggressive. It's another little thing you can do when you have awakened your Kundalini. When you have awakened your Kundalini and you are just sitting in a cafe or something like that, you can have strangers come up to you for no apparent reason, start talking to you. You could sit in an empty cafe and you sit down and have a cup of coffee, and it's not they come up to you, but very quickly the cafe will suddenly be 20% full or half or 50% full. It's just they don't know why. They just sort of feel this is a very calm place to be in, so they come and sit down and have a cup of coffee, not on your table, next to you. They don't know what's happening, and it's just you are projecting this amazing energy that everyone is attracted to. It calms society down. And in today's society, boy, do we need this. It brings us to a state of awareness. Dare I say it, a state of enlightenment. Shock, horror, he said you become enlightened. Because the ultimate enlightenment means your body disappears and you disappear into the ether. Okay, now maybe that happens with the 100%, or maybe that is just 4,000 years of talking this up, talking this up, talking this up, and it's not quite like that. tales of, putting people on pedestals and then claims get enlarged. The stories of Chinese whispers, things change, stories get exaggerated over time. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm saying it's a high possibility. So come on, use common sense. If that does happen at the ultimate place, brilliant, but it's just getting to this place where you can have precognition, you can have pre-senses, things come to you, everything becomes easy, you start to be able to manifest things in your life easily. Be careful with that, because if you're not careful, if you hold on to your shadows during this process, not only is your energy and your ego going to battle at one point, causing dark night of the soul, possibly causing up to a Kundalini syndrome or something like that. Although Kundalini syndrome is normally a mismanagement of how the energy is working. What they say, the Ida and Bengala are imbalanced. Translated into our language, the electrical and magnetic energies are imbalanced. This is why we do so many exercises to prevent this in my trainings. And we rise and we go higher and we open and we feel and we connect and we can transmit and control and we can feel, we can manifest, we can just live in peace. Now, of course, that doesn't mean to say stressful situations aren't going to come in along in life and they're sort of like going to hammer you down again. But it's learning. I have this energy, I have this connection to consciousness. These things no longer need to trigger me. And so that over time fades as well, and stressful situations become just things we have to do. That's it, nothing more, nothing less. Now, I said most people don't have that full on sudden connection. Some people do. It's very, very rare and you're permanently connected. But that's not the goal, because it would be, in today's society, such a shock. Great if you're living in a temple in the Himalayas, brilliant. But let's face it, the Tibetan tantric Buddhists work for years to do this stuff. It's no sudden boom. For most people, it doesn't happen like that. And as I said, it's better that it doesn't. My trainings, we take a year or 3 months, depending on how you want to do it, how you want to work with me, how much you're prepared, how much previous work you've done. For some people who have done a lot of previous work, Neigong and things like that, they can come and they can do it in a week. I have a different system for those people. But most of the time, those people are few and far between. But yes, Kundalini Awakening is not about just releasing past traumas. We can use de-armoring for that. We can use breath work for that. We can use meditation, hypnosis, all of those things to release those emotions. At the end of the day, it is going to a certain technique that you feel comfortable in to give yourself permission to be able to release those things. That is just the very basic part of this work. Once you have done that and you feel awesome, that is where the work begins. And yes, as I've said, shadow work is part of this. We must balance the ego as the energy rises, because if not, when you connect to the consciousness and you still have your old programming, you still understand things from a point of fear, from a point of duality, it will be very difficult to balance both. Because when you awaken your Kundalini and you have that connection, even for the people that have done a lot of work, you will get to a point where you sort of question your sanity simply because of your programming, because you understand that it is wrong. And if you have deep-seated beliefs in good and bad and duality and polarity and you're going to have a tough time when everything is presented to you in one flowing organism that is the universe. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Comments are always welcome. If you want to have a private session with me, if you want to have a training, or even I offer normally two a month, free group energy sessions online, so you can have a taste of this. And they are free, the group sessions. But if you want private sessions, if you want some coaching, if you want to take a course with me, theawakenedenergies.com. See you in another video.